and entertainment only. We are live and ready for the chat and gab. Let me make sure I am on, guys. Ta-da-da. Testing, testing. 7:45. We should be live. Testing. Alrighty. So, greetings to the Saga lovers. Welcome to our Saga Reveal.
Alrighty.
There you go. So, we are live. Eastern time has its own delay, it looks like, for a few seconds here. So, let me fix this little bit of volume. And so that I am not too loud. All right. Please like and share and make sure your notifications are on. So come on in, come on in. We're gonna start with question period. We have to, guys. Question period. Okay. Let me get this ready here for you. Question period today. We're gonna go with the 28th first, which should not be too long, but we'll cover Pierre like CPAC covers Pierre. We're gonna cover Pierre even better. But sometimes it's always nice to cover the others, so I'll definitely try to do them all. So let's share my screen. Here we go. We're going to start it from the beginning.
Questions orales, oral questions. After 10 years,
I have to say, Pierre has been amazing at speaking French more and more and more and more. And let me say, Monsieur Yves-François Blanchette is probably happy and loving it and appreciates how much more in French he has been speaking ever since he's been trying to fix our country. So let's go. The speech is in French.
They've jacked the oral questions. The honorable leader of the
Got it all. I don't know who's here, but say hi.
Deficit budgets that are inflationary. They've jacked a report called Hunger Record or Final Record 2025. The Liberals have made lineups longer and longer at food banks, and people with 2 jobs or 2 incomes still can't afford enough food. Will the Liberals finally bring in a budget to make life and groceries affordable? The Honourable Government House Leader.
Sadly, this is all that he's been talking about for weeks. And let's see what they have to say. Have a drink. Have a drink, Pierre.
Yes, we're going to table a budget to make life affordable and food
And
affordable.
Mr. McKinnon.
And I hope the Leader of the Opposition will support it, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, we'll do that. Okay.
We're not going to support a budget that balloons grocery prices like the last 9 inflationary Liberal budgets. According to Food Banks Canada, there are 100% more people using food banks. And one of them is Jacqueline Stone, a mother in Manitoba, who has 2 jobs but still can't afford food. She works at the grocery store, Mr. Speaker, but she can't afford groceries.
Yes. Looks like
What cruel irony. Will the government finally table a budget that's affordable? The Honourable Government House Leader. Well, the opposition leader is promising that woman a Christmas election. So I hope she'll be able to afford a Christmas dinner, because the opposition leader, 6 months after an election, is going to vote in favor of another one. I'm not sure everyone behind him agrees with that, but Mr. Speaker, the government will table a budget next week, and the opposition leader should support it, just like Food Banks Canada, who have supported all of our initiatives to make more affordable, and the Conservatives voted against them.
Like, I don't think we would be here if life was more affordable, right? Thank you, thank you. Let's go.
After 9 Liberal tax and spend inflationary and costly deficits, Canadians are hungry. Hungry for an affordable budget. Hungry, according to a report by Food Banks Canada called the Hunger Count, which shows that there's been a 100% increase in the number of people relying on food banks since Liberals brought in numerous taxes on food. Will the Prime Minister finally, for the first time, introduce an affordable budget for affordable food and affordable living?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Family.
Mr. Speaker, in fact, someone recently said that there's early signs of progress, including easing housing pressures and new social supports that are offering progress. In fact, this person went on to say that ambitious poverty reduction strategies like affordable housing pilots and the Canadian Dental Care Plan and the National School Food Program are all showing early promise. Guess who said that, Mr. Speaker? The CEO of Food Bank Canada.
The Honourable Leader
You
of
see
the
that?
If any of that were true, there would not be a 100% increase in the number of people relying on food banks. The numbers speak for themselves, Mr. Speaker, and that's after a decade of Liberal inflationary taxes and deficits that have driven 2.2 million people to the food bank. One of them is Jacqueline Stone. She works 2 jobs. She works at a grocery store, Mr. Speaker. She cannot afford to shop at the grocery store where she works. In her name and the name of 2.2 million people lined up at food banks, will we finally get an affordable budget for affordable food and affordable living?
The Honourable
Yes,
Minister of Jobs and Family.
cabbage.
Food Bank, Canada Food Bank, actually doesn't know what she's talking about when she wrote the report that they're quoting from. It's really hard to follow, isn't it, Mr. Speaker? But I will is driving for a Christmas election to increase.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
They want their
Thank you, Pierre. Wow. Hey, hold on. I'm going to fix a little the speed. There you go. Let's rewind it. Wow. You have no ways, no solution. Ooh, change our tune, she said. Is that logical? I am waiting. Look at Pierre. He is mad. He is mad. And they are ignoring the fact that people cannot afford buying food. And that's $17 minimum wage. People can't. Cabbage was $10, guys. I bought cabbage today for $10. It was the regular size of cabbages I grew up with. And they used to be even heavier. And yet it was $10. It used to be cheap. Anyways, I started eating cabbage because it was cheap. And now here we are. Pierre, please remind these people how they are oblivious or more like ignoring the reality of their 10 years of the liberal government. Feeding kids, they wouldn't be hungry at home if their parents could afford food. School is not supposed to be there for food. You don't feed every single child. It's not true. They go to a specific area and it's only, oh my God. Yeah. And they pay. Can have an affordable life. Programs. Sorry. Monsieur Blanchette, merci beaucoup. The block. Here's Dominic. Mr. LeBlanc. Mr. LeWhite. LeBlanc. Let's see. This guy is still talking about Trump is responsible for what's going on here. Yeah, 6 months. Elbows up. Where are their elbows down? Tell us, Monsieur Francois. Yves Francois, 45%. Yes, that's what they were doing. Remember the generational wealth they were going to unleash? It's all our money and taxpayers' money they want to unleash. Careful, guys. Again, wow. Mr. Dominique looked uncomfortable a little bit. Yes. For those who voted for him. He did. Of course. Oh, we did find out. Yes, they did. Of course, Doug Ford don't care. Throw him under the bus. Wow. A win. A deal. Total failure. Yeah, right. Yeah, of course. Probably called Donald. He's avoiding it. Ooh, that finger. He's trying to focus. Sounds like you guys didn't want to sign a deal there. I don't know. We don't know. Hey, you guys can't hear me? What is going on? The browser has connection. Oh boy, boy, boys. What is going on here?
Mr. Speaker, as I said a moment ago,
Support it, Mr. Speaker.
Opposition.
Happened. Sorry, guys.
We're not going to support a budget that balloons
Let's check this.
grocery prices like the last 9 inflationary Liberal budgets. According to Food Banks Canada, there are 100% more people using food banks. And one of them is Jacqueline Stone, a mother in Manitoba, who has 2 jobs but still can't afford food. She works at the grocery store, Mr. Speaker, but she can't afford groceries. What cruel irony. Will the government finally table a budget that's affordable?
All right, we're going to start it over,
The Honourable
guys,
Government
since
House
I'm not
Leader.
that far away. Let's go back.
To the report of Food Banks Canada, a report
My
called
apologies. Thank you.
Hunger Record or Final Record 2025. The Liberals have made lineups longer and longer at food banks, and people with 2 jobs or 2 incomes still can't afford enough food. Will the Liberals finally bring in a budget to make life and groceries affordable? The Honourable Government House Leader.
Oui, nous allons.
Yes, we're going to table a budget to make life affordable and food affordable, and I hope the Leader of the Opposition will support it, Mr. Speaker.
It's funny how Pierre is always speaking in French now. Good job.
We're not going to
Good
support a
job.
budget that balloons grocery prices like the last 9 inflationary Liberal budgets. According to Food Banks Canada, there are 100% more people using food banks. And one of them is Jacqueline Stone, a mother in Manitoba, who has 2 jobs but still can't afford food. She works at the grocery store, Mr. Speaker, but she can't afford groceries. What cruel irony. Will the government finally table a budget that's affordable? The Honourable Government House Leader.
Hey, le chef de
Well, the opposition leader is promising that woman a Christmas election. So I hope she'll be able
didn't.
to afford a Christmas dinner because the opposition leader, 6 months after an election, is going to vote in favor of another one. I'm not sure everyone behind him agrees with that, but Mr. Speaker, the government will table a budget next week, and the opposition leader should support it, just like Food Banks Canada, who have supported all of our initiatives to make life more affordable, and the Conservatives voted against them.
After 9 Liberal tax and spend inflationary and costly deficits, Canadians are hungry. Hungry for an affordable budget. Hungry, according to a report by Food Banks Canada called the Hunger Count, which shows that there's been a 100% increase in the number of people relying on food banks since Liberals brought in numerous taxes on food. Will the Prime Minister finally, for the first time, introduce an affordable budget for affordable food and affordable living?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Family.
Mr. Speaker, in fact, someone recently said that there's early signs of progress, including easing housing pressures and new social support that are offering progress. In fact, this person went on to say that ambitious poverty reduction strategies like affordable housing pilots and the Canadian Dental Care Plan and the National School Food Program are showing early promise. Guess who said that, Mr. Speaker? The CEO of Food Bank Canada.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
If any of that were true, there would not be a 100% increase in the number of people relying on food banks. The numbers speak for themselves, Mr. Speaker, and that's after a decade of Liberal inflationary taxes and deficits that have driven 2.2 million people to the food bank. One of them is Jacqueline Stone. She works 2 jobs. She works at a grocery store, Mr. Speaker. She cannot afford to shop at the grocery store where she works. In her name and in the name of 2.2 million people lined up at food banks, will we finally get an affordable budget for affordable food and affordable living?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Family.
So I just heard the Leader of the Opposition say that the CEO of the Food Bank, Canada Food Bank, actually doesn't know what she's talking about when she wrote the report that they're quoting from. It's really hard to follow, isn't it, Mr. Speaker? But I will say this, it's clear that the member opposite is driving for a Christmas election, and I really hope that's not true, because Canadians are counting on us to pass this budget, to make the school food program permanent, to increase the benefits that Canadians are working on for so hard.
She doesn't understand that it's not for him to push for the election, but your plan doesn't work. You're having problems with your party.
For including the announcement yesterday for service support workers.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
If they want their budget passed, they have to make it an affordable budget so that there's affordable food and affordable quality.
Thank you.
Including people like Jacqueline Stone. As I said, she works at a grocery store and can't afford groceries. We already know about carpenters who build homes but can't afford homes after 10 years of Liberals. This is a story she tells. She says, you find yourself going through the grocery store, grabbing what you need, and when you get ready to check out, you pretty much have to do an audit of your cart to see if you can afford everything. Sometimes you have to put things back. It's embarrassing and disheartening.
Pierre is not, you can see it. He is so genuine. People need to understand that some people don't care and they fake it till they make it. And some people really care. And that's what they look like, naturally.
People like her have been working too hard for too long. Will they get an affordable budget?
The Honourable Secretary of State for Children and Youth.
You're here.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives cannot have it both ways. They say Canadians are facing challenges, and yet they dismiss the ways of helping them get through these challenges. The same Food Banks Canada report they cite mentions the Canada Disability Benefit, the Canadian Dental Care Plan, the National School Food Program, the National Housing Strategy as steps taken to address the underlying conditions that contribute to poverty. When it comes time to step up, what did the Conservatives opposite do? They voted against these supports. They will have another opportunity to change their tune and support that budget.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, if any of those promises were actually coming true, we wouldn't have a 100% increase in the number of people lined up at food bank. A number that has increased again this year after this Prime Minister took office, promising that he would be judged by the prices at the grocery store. 700,000 kids, a record number, are lined up at food banks while they make phony promises that they never keep on the Liberal side of the aisle. Every dollar the government spends comes out of the pockets of Canadians who can't pay any more. The more Liberals spend, the more things cost. Will they finally bring forward an affordable budget for affordable food so Canadians can have an affordable life?
Oh my God.
Mr. Speaker, so either the member opposite, the Leader of the Conservative Party, wants a Christmas election, or he wants to deny what's in that actual report, which is to take action on programs that are making Canadians' lives more affordable, stronger, permanent, and more generous, which is what we've done, Mr. Speaker. That's what we're doing, and we're going to continue to do it. In fact, what the CEO has said is that we're on the right track. We have to continue to move forward, and we really hope they don't vote against these things again.
The honourable member for Belleuil-Chambly. Mr. Speaker, Canada, including Quebec, is entering one of the worst trade crises we've ever experienced. The Prime Minister has given everything up for nothing in exchange, and now, literally, there's a full-fledged squabble with the U.S. President. I'd like to know, and people need to know, what the government intends to do to restore decent relations with the U.S. The Honourable Minister responsible for Canada-U.S. trade. Mr. Speaker, our colleague knows full well that our government is always willing to sit down and cooperate with the American government, with the ministers in Trump's
Mr. LeBlanc.
government, and to negotiate what's in the interest of Canadian industries
Sit
and
down,
workers.
waste time.
We are always available. The Prime Minister has said that repeatedly, Mr. Speaker. But meanwhile, we're not going to sit around and wait.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure we protect Canadian industries, that we build a strong economy here in Canada, and that we invest in all necessary industries. The honourable member for Belleuil-Chambly.
Malgré les promesses.
Despite the promises and claims, the humble claims by the Prime Minister during the election campaign, things haven't gotten any better. They've gotten worse.
Worse.
With the tariffs on trucks and autos, 45% in tariffs and countervailing
45.
duties on forestry, on steel and aluminum, 50% tariffs. What do you have to say to the workers and to vulnerable consumers and investors who are being told nothing's going to change for a long time, to well into 2026?
Yeah.
The Honourable Minister.
2026.
Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, what we're saying to investors who are looking at the Canadian economy, what are we going to say to workers in Canada who are obviously concerned about tariffs? We're going to say that the government is there. We're there to support them, to invest, to take steps, to get major projects underway, to support industries affected by customs duties and tariffs, but we also are always ready to negotiate with the U.S. to put ourselves in a better economic position. The honourable member for Belleuil-Chambly.
Still looking to negotiate.
Are we supposed to wait until the U.S. is in a better mood to talk?
Good question.
Meanwhile, there's inflation, recession, companies, plants closing down. There's nothing being done to make sure that Canada and the provinces speak from the same songbook. They're doing nothing about the loss in purchasing power. When is this government going to admit failure and cooperate so that we have at least a tiny chance of pulling something off? The Honourable Minister. Mr. Speaker, the Bloc leader knows full well that our government has always cooperated with our counterparts in the provinces and territories, with the captains of industry and with worker representatives. I'll be in Montreal this weekend to meet with Minister Fréchette to speak specifically about what can be done together, what more can be done to support Quebec industries and Quebec workers and all across Canada.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The main promise that the Prime Minister was elected on was to negotiate a victory with the Americans. He promised a deal by July 21st. And now there's no deal, there's no victory, and U.S. tariffs have doubled since the Prime Minister promised to get rid of them. And he's blaming a Government of Ontario ad for the lack of a deal.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Very easy. Distract
Had the Prime
everybody.
Minister or his staff seen the ad before it ran?
Of course.
The Honourable
We
Minister.
all know they saw the
Mr.
ad.
Speaker, the opposition leader knows full well that this government will
Thanks to
not
Doug Ford, he
accept
threw him
any
under the
old
bus.
deal.
Everybody.
We have clearly said that we will negotiate a deal with the U.S. government if it's in the interests of Canadian workers and industries. Canadians know full well that the opposition leader would have accepted any old deal. That's not Canada's position. We need to support Canadian industries and workers at the same time.
The signature promise on which the Prime Minister was elected was to, quote unquote, negotiate a win with the Americans, to get a deal by July 21st. And here we are, late October, still no deal, still no win, still no elbows, still no jobs, and American tariffs have doubled since the Prime Minister promised he would get rid of them. Yesterday, his latest excuse was that an Ontario government ad prevented him from keeping his promise. So, yes or no? Did the Prime Minister or his staff see the ad before it went out?
The Honourable Minister responsible for Canada-U.S. trade.
Mr. Speaker, I'll repeat the answer I just gave to the Leader of the Opposition in French. because he asked the same question in English. Our government, Mr. Speaker, was elected to negotiate an agreement with the United States that's in the interests of Canadian workers and the Canadian industries. Unlike the Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Speaker, we're not going to sign whatever agreement the Americans might suggest. We're going to sign an agreement that benefits Canadian workers and the Canadian economy. And at the same time, Mr. Speaker, we're going to build in Canada, we're going to invest in Canada, and we're going to support Canadian workers and Canadian business.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The Prime Minister promised that he'd have a good deal by July 21st.
Again.
That date has come and gone. And his latest excuse is an ad from the government of Ontario. He claims that's why he couldn't keep his promise and get a deal. So, yes or no?
Yeah, right.
Did the Prime Minister see the ad before it went out?
The Honourable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, as I said a moment ago, our government is committed to working with all partners in our federation, to work with premiers in every part of the
Mr.
country,
LeBlanc.
to work with
Did you
union
see
leaders
it?
and business leaders, to support the Canadian economy and
Did your
Canadian
Prime
workers,
Minister
and
see
to
it?
negotiate with the
Tell them
Americans
yes.
for a deal that's in the interests of Canada.
Yes
That's
or
been
no?
the government position from the beginning. I'm proud of the work that we've done with all the premiers and businesses and union leaders across the country.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Speaker, it's the Prime Minister who has said that the ad prevented him from keeping his promise and getting a deal. He claims he was on the verge of getting that deal. So surely if he saw an ad that would interrupt the deal, he would have said no and hit the brakes. So the question is, yes or no? Did the Prime Minister or anyone on his staff
Wow.
see the ad before it went out? Yes or no?
You're not happy at all.
Mr. Speaker, our government is committed to doing the serious work necessary to get a deal with the United States and to build a strong, resilient Canadian economy. That was the commitment we made to Canadians in the election. That was an election that the Leader of the Opposition lost because people didn't believe he would be serious in either supporting Canadian workers, Canadian businesses, or standing up to the Americans for a
He's
deal
getting
that's
redder.
in the interest of all Canadians.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Being serious means being honest. And tell
Ooh.
did the Prime Minister
Ooh.
The member will
Being serious is being honest. I'm going to be honest with you. I was not expecting that. And I had made sure I had a little banner for this moment. I think this is a moment that I think everybody should really understand what's happening here. He could have just said, yeah, they saw it, but Doug Ford is the one that ended up saying it. Because somehow Dominic couldn't admit it. Maybe he knew, maybe he didn't know, but at the end of the day, he just brushed it off. And he got caught in the honesty side and the seriousness of the matter that Carney had said. It was because of Doug's commercial. He screwed up my deal when he had no deal. Well, he had a deal, but somehow she just said it earlier. They didn't want that deal, looks like. They weren't happy with that deal. But we'll find out in due time. So let's go.
can continue, and we'll get a few extra seconds to make up for the interruption.
being honest is a joke to these Liberals, Mr. Speaker?
It's a joke. Thank you. Even better. Even better. It's a joke. It's insulting the rest of Canadians.
There can't be too many interruptions because I can't afford that much time. But if the member could continue.
Did the Prime Minister or his staff see the ad before it went out? Yes
Or no.
or no?
The Honourable Minister responsible for Canada, U.S. trade.
Mr. Speaker, I can imagine the frustration that the Leader of the Opposition feels when he sees a Prime Minister elected to take this serious economic and sovereignty challenge with all of the seriousness it deserves. That's why Canadians thought the Leader of the Opposition wasn't up to that task. That's why Canadians chose a Prime Minister who takes serious issues seriously, who will defend Canadian workers and Canadian businesses and stand up for the right deal for Canada.
Yes.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
And this is how it goes.
The Prime Minister says the reason he doesn't have a deal is because of an ad. Did he or his staff see the ad before it went out? Yes or no?
This is
Again, Mr.
amazing.
Speaker, I can understand the Leader of the Opposition may be frustrated for a whole series of reasons. He's got a caucus meeting coming up this week. He may be very concerned about that as well. Mr. Speaker, what I can tell the Leader of the Opposition and all colleagues in the House is the Prime Minister is committed to doing the difficult, serious work necessary to build the strongest economy in the G7. That starts by supporting Canadian workers, building big in Canada again, and doing everything necessary to get the deal with the Americans that will be in the interest of Canadian workers and Canadian business.
When?
Mr. Speaker, there are 100,000 more Canadian workers out of a job since the Prime Minister promised to protect their jobs. He says that they're going to get the best economy in the G7. It's the fastest shrinking economy in the G7.
Thank you.
I met with auto workers in Windsor over the weekend who are terrified that the Prime Minister's failures are going to cost them their jobs. He looked those workers in the eyes and he said he would have a good deal by July 21st, and he broke his promise. Now he's blaming an ad. He has a duty to say whether or not he saw the ad that he says blew up the so-called deal he had. So will he do the honest thing and answer the question, did he see the ad, or is it actually his incompetence?
Thank you.
The Honourable Minister responsible for Canada U.S. trade.
Mr. Speaker, just because the Leader of the Opposition keeps asserting the same fake premise doesn't make it real. What is real, Mr. Speaker,
This
is
is
the
Mr.
government of
LeBlanc's
Canada
heart.
can control certain things. We can control investments that we make in partnership with Canadian businesses and Canadian workers to build a strong economy here. We can work with provinces and territories, as we're proud to do, to defend the Canadian economy and to work with the United States to get an agreement that will be in the interests of Canada, something the Leader of the Opposition will never get a chance to do.
The honourable member
Yes.
for Mirabel.
Wait.
Mr. Speaker, the cat's out of the bag. Yesterday, the Liberal leader openly threatened to call an election by Christmas if his budget doesn't pass as is. After zero pre-budget consultations, zero witnesses heard in committee, and zero requests from the opposition entertained, the Liberals are already resorting to blackmail instead of trying to find common ground. Mr. Speaker, Quebecers elected a minority government. Minority means working with the other parties. Why don't the Liberals get down to work instead of threatening elections? The Honourable Government House Leader. Since the member opposite has done me the honor of quoting me, I'm going to give him a little math lesson. The fact is, we are a minority government, but we estimate that there are enough votes to give us a mandate to table a budget and propose an economic plan to Canadians. And that includes entering into trade deals with the U.S. Canadians gave us that mandate. The only question is which opposition party is going to opt to send Canadians back to the polls at Christmas. Gentleman member for Mirabel.
Not them.
Mr. Speaker, when the Prime Minister, with this mathematician across the way, when he said he was reaching out to the opposition, we thought it was to work together, not slap us around. And yet that promise has been broken with the threat of elections. You might say this isn't his only broken promise. He also promised to protect us from Trump. But unlike talks with Trump, the Prime Minister has complete control over budget talks. Mr. Speaker, there are crises in healthcare, quality of life for seniors, housing and home ownership, outdated infrastructure, and so on. Why not work together to resolve these crises instead of threatening elections? The Honourable Minister of Canadian Culture and Identity.
He's really
Mr. Speaker,
feisty.
I'd like to reassure my honourable and friendly colleague that there's no
Gilbo.
slapping going on this side of the House. The Prime Minister met with the Bloc leader. The House leader met with the Bloc members. I myself have met with Bloc members to hear their demands for the budget. In the budget, there will be steps around affordability and housing. The Bloc has had their say on how we can help Canadians. The honourable member for Charlebourg-Haute-Saint-Charles. Mr. Speaker, according to Moisson Québec, over 84,000 people are supported each month by their network. This represents a 30% increase since 2022. In addition, a study by Avicel for Quebec food banks shows that food insecurity is becoming entrenched and the need is here to stay. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister is asking Quebecers to make sacrifices, knowing he won't have to make any himself. Since coming to power, he's done absolutely nothing to reduce the cost of living. When will the Liberals understand that their inflationary deficits are driving up the cost of food and pushing Canadians into the food banks? The Honourable Minister of Canadian Culture and Identity.
All right, we're done with Gilbo. We're going to get off Gilbo's, and we're going to go and find the other one from today's question period today. It's right here.
What would you like to make disappear?
All that stuff out there.
Visit 1-800-GotJunk.com. They say you need a savings
go.
account for interest and a checking account for everyday use. Then they charge you fees on both.
Oral questions, questions orales, the honorable leader of the opposition.
Questions orales, l'honorable chef de l'opposition.
The full house.
Après 10 budgets coûteux,
After 10
déficitaires des
years,
libéraux. Ils
expensive
ont gonflé le dette,
life
le prix de
cost.
nourriture et de logement. Les Canadiens méritent un budget abordable pour une vie abordable. Le premier ministre a promis que les Canadiens allaient pouvoir le juger par le prix de l'épicerie. Les prix ont gonflé et le nombre de personnes aux banques alimentaires a doublé.
Oh my God,
Donc,
hold
est-ce que le
on, let
gouvernement
me
va
escape
travailler
this.
en collaboration avec nous, avec
And
nos
I'll put the
propositions
English ones
pour
because
un
I
budget
picked the
abordable
French one.
et une vie abordable?
Honorable leader,
Forgot. I would definitely don't mind watching it in French, but here, let me get the English question period of today's. Up here. Question period. Today's. Here we go.
oral questions, questions orales, the honorable leader of the opposition.
More questions. Questions orales. Let's go.
After 10 costly budgets, deficit budgets from these Liberals,
For 10 years.
they've ballooned the debt, the cost of groceries and housing. Canadians now deserve an affordable budget for affordable living. The Prime Minister promised that people could judge him based on food prices, but those prices have
did.
only gone up, and the number of
he?
people using food banks has doubled. So will the government work in cooperation with us, with our proposals, for an affordable budget and affordable living? The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, we will certainly work towards affordability with an affordable budget, but the opposition leader is
Mr.
making
McKinnon.
proposals that he wouldn't even put in his own election platform. 6 months ago, Canadians gave us a mandate to present a plan to spend less and invest more, and that's what we're going to have on November 4th. And I hope that the opposition leader will not trigger Christmas elections and that he will support our budget.
Oh, wow. So I'm still throwing it.
Le chef a
Clearly, the government House leader doesn't want to trigger an expensive election over an expensive budget. But Canadians should not have to choose between an expensive budget or an expensive election. They should be able to choose an affordable budget for affordable living. And that's what we're proposing.
Prends l'exemple.
For example, scrapping the tax, the industrial carbon tax on farmers so that Canadians could
Can
buy
eat.
affordable food. Will the
Yeah.
Prime Minister accept that proposal? The Honourable Government House Leader.
They don't want that
Mr.
one.
Speaker,
We all
we
know.
announced a series of steps going
It's
to
not one of it.
affordability, including school food programs.
Yes, of
and
course, it's not
automatic
included,
registration
guys.
for benefits that should reduce poverty among Canadians. But each time we propose an affordability measure, the opposition leader orders his troops, he orders them to vote against them. So which foot is he dancing on? Either he wants to help Canadians or he wants a Christmas election.
Well,
Which is it?
we want to help ourselves. We don't want you to come by and try to take our taxpayers' money to come and give it out. We want you to go away and cut all your taxes so we can buy stuff at a decent price. Isn't that only just like common sense? You don't have to. All right.
Speaker, Canadians cannot afford a 10th costly budget that drives up the price of groceries and housing. What they need, in fact, is an affordable budget for an affordable life. This Prime Minister, though, has driven up the cost of the bureaucracy, the consultants, and therefore inflation, so Canadians
All their
are paying
friends.
more for everything. We have put forward common sense proposals to make life more affordable, like eliminating all the hidden taxes on food. Will the Prime Minister put partisanship aside and work with us on an affordable budget for an affordable life?
Oh no, they want to spend more. Hello.
Well, happy days, Mr. Speaker. There will be an affordable budget for an affordable life presented in this House on November 4th. And we certainly hope the opposition leader will order his troops to vote for it instead of ordering the very nervous ones to vote against it and cause a very expensive Christmas election here in Canada. Will the opposition leader tell his very nervous troops to vote for our affordable budget on November 4th?
Yes, sir. You don't have to insinuate too much on what people
Trying
are
to
thinking
use
and
a
doing.
costly budget to trigger a costly election. And we know what he wants to distract from the fact that this Prime Minister has broken every promise he's made by triggering a costly election on a costly budget. But, Mr. Speaker, Canadians shouldn't have to choose between a costly budget and a costly election. They can choose an affordable budget with an affordable life. And we're putting forward the proposals on how to do that, like eliminating the industrial carbon tax on our farmers who feed us. Will they take our positive, collaborative ideas for an affordable budget and affordable life? Yes or no?
The Honourable Deputy House Leader.
There he goes again, Mr.
Of
Speaker,
course.
with the imaginary taxes. More and more, and increasingly, Mr. Speaker, in his own caucus, he has imaginary friends. So this leader of the opposition understands, as all Canadians do,
Everybody's
that they gave us
laughing.
a mandate 6
You're
months
laughing
ago
at us?
for stability.
We're paying all the
calm,
taxes.
not slogans.
I see
solutions,
you.
affordability.
You too, young man.
Get a trade deal
Young
with the United
lady.
States, and yes,
You won't
Mr.
be-
Speaker, bring a
be
plan
happy.
and a budget
You're paid
to
that
build
much.
a Canadian economy very strong.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, that member and the Prime Minister trying to provoke a costly election on their costly budget. They're again playing costly games. But this is not about games. This is about the people lined up at food banks, 2.2 million of them. That number has doubled since this government took office 10 years ago. It's about Jacqueline Stone, who says it's heartbreaking. It's hard. It's just tough making ends meet. She says that she feels embarrassed and disheartened to have to turn back items when she's at the checkout and her bank account goes empty. Will the government reverse course and bring in an affordable budget so that people like Jacqueline can have an affordable life?
So this is what's been going on back and forth and back and forth.
Well, let's hear from another person in Canada who's doing really important work as well, and that's Kirsten Beardsley, the CEO of Canada Food Banks. And she said with
She's doing well.
long-term investment
Good for
and
her.
improved access, these kinds of initiatives are showing early promise for greater adoption and expansion. She also said that we should make the school food program permanent, that we should help the lowest income workers, Mr. Speaker. That we
Oh,
should
did she
increase
say
access
that?
to affordable
Making the food banks permanent. So what? You know what? Let's be honest. That CEO lady is smart. So you guys, you little lady there, we all know you're gonna give her money. You guys are gonna give them money to go buy food. You get more food. Then it's gonna turn into a big giant corporation. This is how you guys always do it. Putting the money between yourselves, like as if anything is really going down to people in a free way. No, we don't need another bureaucracy. Don't ruin it, lady. This is very bad thoughts. Let's rewind what she's saying here.
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and
Really? She said that?
Well, let's hear from another person in Canada who's doing really important work as well, and that's Kirsten Beardsley, the CEO of Canada Food Banks. And she said with proper long-term investment and improved access, these
So
kinds of
bad.
initiatives are showing early promise for greater adoption and expansion. She also said that we should make the school food program permanent, that we should help the lowest income workers, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, because
that
she
we
doesn't
should
have
increase
enough
access
stuff. So yeah, make it permanent because they don't have enough money to feed them, and it's gotten worse. Lady, you don't make any sense. Sit down.
to affordable housing, Mr. Speaker. That's all in our budget, Mr. Speaker. We know we've been talking about what's coming. We hope these guys will get on board and stop standing in the way of Canadians.
Stop wasting our money that we don't have.
Mr. Speaker, these liberal programs do not feed children. They feed bureaucracy,
That-
consultants, lobbyists, and insiders. And we know that because since they brought in all of these promises, we've seen food bank use more than double. By the government's own admission, 25% of kids go to school hungry after 10 years of these liberal policies. Why? Because the more this government spends, the more things cost. Every dollar they spend comes out of the pockets of hardworking Canadians. Haven't they learned their lesson after 10 years that we need an affordable budget so Canadians can have affordable lives?
the Honourable Minister of Jobs and
Yeah, I want to eat my steak again
Mr.
every
Speaker,
day
it's clear that
if I
the leader
want to.
of the opposition's driving for a Christmas election. He'd rather do that than
You don't get it.
stand up for the moms and dads across this country who are looking for affordable childcare, who want us to make the school food program permanent, Mr. Speaker, who want to invest in women's safety, Mr. Speaker, in shelters and homes and wraparound housing, Mr. Speaker. That's what Canadians want. They want things that are going to help their families and their communities, and these guys are threatening to take it all away.
Well, I would say if there's an election, good on you
Member
guys.
for Saint Jean.
At this point,
Mr.
we've had
Speaker, the
enough of
government
it.
is in a minority position. If they want their
Yes.
budget to pass, they have to negotiate with someone. But this morning, the government House leader confirmed that he is talking to the opposition, but he isn't negotiating. He himself says so. He doesn't call it negotiations. He says that the opposition's demands in terms of principles are out of the question. In short, he's willing to talk, but not negotiate.
Waste
He'll
of
talk,
time
he'll
like
chat,
he
he'll
did with
discuss,
Trump.
but that's it. So does he want this budget to pass, or is he trying to trigger a Christmas election?
What did you guys expect? He wasted time just talking with Trump. He wasn't accomplishing anything. So he's basically socializing. And then he did the same thing to all of you guys. Everybody who had a meeting, yeah. It was having a cup of tea with you guys. Thank you for your ideas. Bye-bye.
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. McKinnon.
Monsieur le Président.
Mr. Speaker, I always enjoy discussing with my counterparts and members on all sides of the House. Obviously, she should speak to her colleague from Gaspésie-les-Îles de la Madeleine or from Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean. I've had very interesting discussions about some very important projects in their ridings. Maybe she has some, and I'd be pleased to dialogue, discuss, negotiate, whatever you want to call it, with her and their leader as well. The Honourable Member for Saint-Jean. The Liberals simply don't want to negotiate for us to support their budget. They don't want to invest in healthcare. They don't want to correct the injustice in old age pensions. They don't want to transfer money to housing and infrastructure without strings attached. They don't want to give Quebec back the $814 million they stole to buy Canadian votes. They don't want to help young people get property. They just don't want to. It seems what they do want is to call an election at Christmas. Why don't they just come clean?
They stole $850 million? Did you guys hear the gossips?
Speaker, the only question is,
there's gossips, There's gossips in Parliament during question period. This was a good one. I want to hear that part again. I liked it. Hold on, guys. This is hilarious.
They don't want to correct the injustice in old age pensions. They don't want to transfer money to housing and infrastructure without strings attached. They don't want to give Quebec back the $814 million they stole to buy Canadian votes. They don't want to help young people get property. They just don't want to. It seems what they do want is to call an election at Christmas. Why don't they just come clean? The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, the only question is, who from the Bloc or the Conservative Party wants to trigger a Christmas election most? The Bloc has given us a series of non-negotiable demands. The Bloc itself is talking about non-negotiable demands. How do you negotiate something that's non-negotiable? They talk about money that Quebec is owed. The Conservative leader wants the deficit brought down. The Bloc wants more spending. We're trying to strike a balance. The Honourable Member for Joliette-Nanawan. Mr. Speaker, the Liberals are responsible for the current housing crisis. The PBO calculated rents have increased by 26% just because of the federal government's excessive immigration policies. All tenants, including immigrants, are paying 26% more in rent because of the Liberals. To correct this fiasco, the Rapid Housing Initiative has to be renewed and made permanent, and Quebec's share must be transferred to Quebec unconditionally. That's the minimum. Why are the Liberals refusing to include this in the budget, even to the point of threatening an election?
Wow.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the question.
For supporting affordable housing, and we are focused on homelessness first and foremost. Mr. Speaker, we are dedicating $1 billion, the first $1 billion in the budget, to solving homelessness, working with cities and towns across the country.
Homelessness.
Supportive, modular
$1 billion.
Did
you guys hear that?
People out of shelters, off of the street, and into a safe place to call home. We are committed to affordable housing, and we will follow through.
The Honourable Member.
All right, I think we are done for the day.
Every dollar the Liberals spend come right out of the pockets of Canadians. Under Trudeau, the Liberals' consumer carbon tax made everything more expensive, while their record spending led to higher prices and lower paychecks, with the debt burden falling on younger Canadians most of all. Now this Prime Minister is doubling down in his budget with an industrial carbon tax, more costs, and bills.
Let's go to, hold on.
Minister
South Six Nations.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberals blew nearly $1 billion on a gun grab. Even their own minister admits does not work. He was caught on tape telling the truth. It's a waste of money. The OPP wants no part of it, and the only police force they found to enforce their vanity project, its chief is related to a Liberal MP. This isn't safety, it's political theater with a $750 million price tag. When will the Prime Minister scrap this farce and go after criminals instead of law-abiding Canadians?
Wow.
Mr. Speaker, as I announced several weeks ago, we have a pilot project taking place in Cape Breton, which will
I
be
think this is
expanded
it
to
for
across Canada over the coming weeks. We look forward
today's
to
question
law-abiding
period.
Canadians abiding by the law.
But
As you know,
we
Mr. Speaker,
missed
we have brought in many measures.
I wanted to share with you guys there was a special vote that happened. And let's go see if they have it on the side. Here we go. Update on new public service, Alberta. Let's go back down here. What was this? 28th Okay, no, they haven't cut the. So let's go find it.
Cracker Barrel.
There was a vote
Cream
yesterday.
cheese to elevate your meals.
And let me just
Chevy Equinox is more than
tell
an
you
SUV.
guys, guess what
It's
the
your
vote was all about.
Oral questions, questions orales, the honorable leader of the opposition.
The vote. Oh, I guess it wasn't added.
After 10 costly budgets, deficit budgets
Let's
from
go
these
see.
liberals, they've ballooned the debt, the cost of groceries
Brookfield.
and housing. Canadians now deserve an affordable budget for affordable living. The Prime Minister promised that people could judge him based on food prices, but those prices have only gone up, and the number of people using food banks has doubled. So will the government work in cooperation with us, with our proposals, for an affordable budget and affordable living? The Honourable Government House Leader. Mr. Speaker, we will certainly work towards affordability with an affordable budget,
Where would I
but the
find
opposition
that?
leader...
Oh yeah, here. Carney's budget triggered an early election. We don't want that one. What the one I want is Carney's Brookfield. Called for Brookfield CEO, guys. CEO for an interview. Here we go. So this is basically what happened.
Mr. Barrett, seconded by Mr. Cooper. Move.
Yeah.
Motion is as follows. Mr. Brassard, seconded by Mr. Jackson, moved that the third report of the Standing Committee on Access to Information, Privacy and Ethics, presented on Monday, September 22nd, 2025, be concurred in.
Mr. Barrett, seconded by Mr. Cooper, moved the following amendment. That the
Here it
motion be
is.
amended by
Let me
deleting
pause
all
it.
the words
Just make sure. Yeah, perfect.
after that and substituting the following. Shall I dispense? No. The third report of the Standing Committee on Access to Information, Privacy and Ethics presented on Monday, September 22nd, 2025, be not now concurred in, but that it be recommitted to the committee for further consideration with a view to assessing whether the scope of the review of the Conflict of Interest Act proposed by the committee should be amended in order to address better the concerns posed by the unprecedented extent of the Prime Minister's corporate and shareholding interests, provided that for the purposes of this order of reference, A, the following be ordered to appear as witnesses separately for at least 2 hours each, at dates and times to be fixed by the chair of the committee, but no later than Friday, November 21st, 2025. 1. Michael Sabia,
Friday,
clerk of the Privy
21st.
Council and
So the
an
clerk of the
administrator of the Prime
Privy
Minister's Conflict
Council.
of Interest screen. 2. Marc-André Blanchard, Chief of Staff to the Prime Minister and Administrator of the Prime Minister's Conflict
Marc-André
of Interest screen.
Blanchard,
3.
number 2.
Bruce Flatt, Chief Executive
Bruce
Officer
Flatt.
of Brookfield Corporation and the Prime Minister's immediate successor as Chair of the Board of Directors.
Chair of the Board of Director of Brookfield
Management,
Asset.
Inc.
Good
4.
job.
Connor Teskey,
4.
President of Brookfield Asset Management
President
Inc. and Chief
of
Executive
Brookfield.
Officer of Brookfield Renewable Partners LP. And B, it be an instruction that the committee report back to the House by Friday, November 28th, 2025.
Report back by the 28th.
La période de 10
The 10-minute
All
period
right,
for
so
members voting
they were
electronically has
basically
started.
passed a motion to subpoena Brookfield CEO and his chief of staff and the other two, and it has passed. All right, so let's go find it here. This is the elections. Yeah, and they're all still sitting down and counting the names. Let's go.
Monsieur Garon. Marie.
If you're
Yeah.
someone that suffers from having sensitive
That's pretty
teeth,
much it.
but you want them whiter, I recommend Sensodyne
So
Clinical White.
Mr. Solomon.
Mr. Solomon.
Mrs. Valdez.
Be aware this is going
Monsieur
on,
Duclos.
and soon we'll find out.
Ms.
Lots of
Gould.
people.
Madame Fitzpatrick. Mr. Blair.
And that
Ms.
was
Fry.
pretty much.
Mr.
Yeah,
Osborne.
that's the votes,
Mr.
and it
Ferguson.
passes
Madame Provo.
with the amendments
Hota.
that they on it. And here we are, done for the evening. What I just want to say is, it is sadly the end of the night. Thank you for joining me on the Saga Reveal. I'm your host, Madem-Oiselle. And let me just personally say thank you very much for being with me on the reveal. It's nice to hang out. With that, see you all maybe tomorrow. Hopefully, same tube time, same tube channel. And what can I say? Looking forward for more entertainment speeches from Pierre. With that, good night.